Боловсрол суваг телевиз, Jet School of English хамтран үзүүлж байна. Англи хэлний асын зайн сургуульд.
Hello everybody, my name is Edith and I am an English teacher of Jet School of English in Mongolia. Welcome to our TV Intermediate English course on pronunciation. Today is our third lesson. During the last weeks we learned about the stress pattern of words and syllables. Then we studied the stress pattern of sentences and the tone of voice. Today, we are going to add another important thing that will help you speak and read more correctly, more beautifully, and naturally in English. So today, we are going to learn about the pronunciation of punctuation. So what is punctuation? Punctuation is the usage of different marks in written text, such as the full stop, comma, exclamation mark, question mark, colon, semicolon, hyphen, etc. Why do we use this kind of marks? Of course, in order to make our written communication more clear, to show where a sentence ends, where the next one starts, and what kind of emotional meaning we want to communicate to the listener. Alright, let's start with the full stop and the comma. When you see a full stop and the end of a sentence, you have to lower your tone of voice and you have to have a little pause after it. However, if you have the comma, you have to raise your tone of voice and also you have to have a little pause as well. So, listen, look at this sentence here. It was cold outside. There was snow on the ground. In fact, there are two sentences, yeah? I can put this comma here in the middle and I read, it was cold outside, there was snow on the ground. Or I can put a comma in between. It was cold outside, there was snow on the ground. So you see that these two sentences sound in a different way if we use comma or full stop. Or another one. I got up, quickly got dressed, and went downstairs. Or I got up quickly, got dressed, and went downstairs. So you can see the difference that the words are the same, the actions are the same in the two sentences. However, what happened quickly, what had to happen quickly, they are different. Or another sentence, that is the information he told me. There is no comma in the sentence, you see, in between. That is the information he told me. In another way, that is the information he told me. That is the information he told me. In the second case, I quoted what he told me. I quoted word by word what he told me. That is the information he told me. So I have to use a comma. And one more thing, you can see here, I used the quote mark here in the sentence, showing that I am quoting word by word what he told me. So you see, commas help us to know which words we have to group up, which of the words belong to each other closer within a sentence. Why do we need the pause? Pause is actually very useful. By having a short pause, we give some time to ourselves to think, and also the pause gives time to the listener to understand, to digest the information that we have given. Let's read the following text together with right pronunciation of punctuation. Repeat after me. I can never guess the weather right. If I wear a warm shirt, the weather is hot. If I wear cool clothes, there is a cold wind. When I don't take my umbrella, it rains. If I take my umbrella, does it rain? Of course not. Then I leave it on the bus. Oh, well, we all have our weaknesses, I guess. So from this short story that the girl was telling about herself, you could see that when you have a comma in the sentence, you have to raise the tone of your voice and you have a little pause. But when you have the full stop at the end of the sentence, then you have to drop the tone of your voice and also have a little pause. In this way, the reading and your speaking becomes more dynamic, more beautiful, more natural. Okay, so let's observe now these sentences. They are in fact two sentences without punctuation in between. We can divide these sentences in two different ways. Listen to me and put the full stop to the place where you hear it before or after the underlined words here. There was nothing inside, it was empty. I didn't say any punctuation, right? So it sounds really strange, unnatural. Now we can change the way how we read it. I will tell you. There was nothing inside. It was empty. Where was the full stop? Of course, after the inside. Or I will tell you another way. There was nothing. Inside it was empty. Then I put the full stop, of course, before the word inside, right? It's easy. Now let's see another sentence. We walked carefully downstairs. It was dark. There was no punctuation, right? It sounds really strange, like a robot. Now I will tell you with two different kinds of punctuation. First, we walked carefully downstairs. It was dark. Where is the full stop? After the word downstairs. Okay, then the next one. I watched him silently. He opened the drawer. There is no punctuation. Now, I watched him silently. He opened the drawer. Or, I watched him silently. He opened the drawer. You see, first, the full stop was after the word silently, and in the other case, it was before the word silently. I repeat. I watched him silently. He opened the drawer. Or, I watched him silently. He opened the drawer. Okay, then let's see the next one. The rain didn't stop the next day. It just carried on. No punctuation in between. Now I will read you with one kind of punctuation. Try to guess where the full stop comes. First, I will read you this sentence without punctuation. The rain didn't stop the next day, it just carried on. No punctuation. Now, in another way. The rain didn't stop. The next day, it just carried on. So, the full stop was after the word the next day. Now, in another way. The rain didn't stop. The next day, it just carried on. In this way, the full stop was, of course, after the word stop. Next sentence. It was cold last night. The roads were icy. No punctuation. Now guess. It was cold. Last night, the roads were icy. So the full stop was, of course, after the word cold. Next one. It was cold last night. The roads were icy. Where was the full stop? Of course, the word night. Okay. You can see now that in order to write and understand clearly what someone meant, we have to use the punctuation correctly. Now let's see more about how to use the comma. The comma is used for many different reasons. First, as you already know, we use commas to divide a sentence into groups of words according to the sense of what we want to say. For example, I bought a nice new jacket, a pair of comfortable shoes, some warm socks, and 2 pairs of sporty trousers. So, how many different kinds of things did I buy? 4 different things. That's why we have to divide this sentence into 4 groups by 3 commas. Then the next one. Today in the morning, I took my kids to the school. I had a nice coffee together with my mom. After that, I did some shopping, and finally, I attended my evening class. This is what I did today. So, how many things I did? 4 different things. That's why I have to divide these 4 different things by commas in between. Next one. Saturday morning, we started with a great breakfast with scrambled eggs, bacons, sausages, French toast, and a nice English tea. So we had 5 different things for this breakfast. 5 different kinds of things should be divided by 4 commas in between. Comma is also very, very important in reporting what other people said. Look, I don't agree, he said. You see here, I don't agree, he said. What he said to me, it was exactly word by word, I don't agree. So I have to put this phrase, I don't agree, in between quote marks, and after that I have to put a comma. You see? And then he said, or he told, or he asked. Yeah? This is how we quote what someone told us. Then another way, another example. Here we are, they said. Here we are. This is what they said word by word. So I have to put this phrase into quote marks, and then I have to put a comma in the end. This is what they said. When you report what someone told word by word, you must use the so-called quote marks, and you have to divide the quoted sentence from the part of the sentence that you add by a comma. However, if you report a question or an exclamation, you have to use the suitable punctuation, such as the question mark and the exclamation mark, and not comma. For example, stop him, she shouted. Stop him. This was the word. Exactly what she shouted. So we have to put it to the quote mark, and after that no comma, because it was an exclamation. She shouted, right? So we have to put there the exclamation mark. Then another example. Did you see that? He asked. Did you see that? He asked exactly, word by word, like this. So I have to put it to the quote mark and then a question mark. It was a question, no comma. So, you see, since these sentences end with a question mark or an exclamation marks, there is no comma after the quote. Let's do an exercise together now. Here in the screen, you see the text of a short story without any punctuation. This is how some students write, by the way, mistakenly. So listen. A man wanted to buy his wife a new dress because it was her birthday, so he went to the department store and looked around. He was looking for about an hour, but he couldn't decide. Finally, the shop assistant came and asked if he could help. He said he was looking for a dress, and the shop assistant asked, "Is it for you, sir?" So it was horrible, right? Because I read the story without any punctuation. Now, let's try to put the correct punctuation to this text. A man wanted to buy his wife a new dress because it was her birthday. So, he went to a department store and looked around. He was looking for about an hour, but he couldn't decide. Finally, the shop assistant came and asked him if he needed help. He said he was looking for a dress. The shop assistant asked, "Is it for you, sir?" Of course, it is a joke, but observe the punctuation and repeat the sentences aloud after me. Right. A man wanted to buy his wife a new dress because it was her birthday. Okay, repeat. A man wanted to buy his wife a new dress because it was her birthday. You see, there was a comma because before the word because. So you had to have a pause there. Next one. So he went to a department store and looked around. Here you see there was a comma after the word so you had to have a little pause there. Okay, next. He was looking for about an hour, but he couldn't decide. So you see there is a comma there before the word but. So we have there a little pause and the tone of voice rises. So he was looking for about an hour, but he couldn't decide. Okay, next one. Finally, the shop assistant came and asked if he needed help. You see, in this sentence there are two commas. First, finally. So you have the tone of your voice rises. You say finally. The shop assistant came and asked, comma, if he needed help. Okay, next one. He said he was looking for a dress. He said, comma, he was looking for a dress. Repeat after me. He said he was looking for a dress. Good. Next one. The shop assistant asked, is it for you, sir? You see the quote marks? Is it for you, sir? I read this part with a little bit different tone of voice because it is a quote. This is what the shop assistant asked exactly. So it was a joke, according to English humor. Okay, let's go to the next part of this lesson. How we tell stories in English. Maybe you will like to tell stories in English to your foreign friends. So let's see now some little details how we can make our stories more interesting and how we can understand also the stories of other people. Probably you heard the two words well and anyway millions of times from English speakers. Well, these two words have important part in the conversations. Listen to this short dialogue. Can you imagine? I nearly got arrested yesterday. Oh my God, what do you mean? Well, I am doing a project on graffiti, at college. So I have to take a lot of photos on graffiti. Oh, I see. Anyway, I saw a train yesterday with some amazing graffiti on the side. So I went there to take a photo of it. But the train was quite far from the platform. Then, I was walking near the lines and two station police came and they told me that I shouldn't be there. It is forbidden. Oh, of course. Anyway, they forced me to follow them to the police station office and ask for my ID. But I didn't have my ID with me. What happened then? Well, I told them to keep my camera while I quickly go home and pick my ID and come back soon. So they agreed. I brought my ID, they wrote my number, and let me go, thanks God. So, what is this word anyway for? It shows that the speaker is moving on to the next part of the story. Then what does well mean? Well shows that the speaker is going to respond to a question of his partner or her partner. While you say well, you are giving some time to yourself to think. After this lesson, you can try to write a short story that happened to you in the past, introducing these words well and anyway to your own narrative. Now let's see more about quoting. Listen to these pairs of sentences. Notice how you hear the quote marks. Do you know what he said to me? Or, do you know what he said to me? You see, the words are exactly the same in these two sentences, although the meaning is completely different. First I say, do you know what he said to me? And here there is no quote mark because I am not quoting. I'm just asking a question. The second one, you see the quotation marks. Do you know what he said to me? Because I am quoting what he said to me. Okay, then the next one. That's the thing she said. That's the thing she said. Or, that's the thing she said. That's the thing she said. In the first sentence, I am not quoting. I am just telling exactly what I want to say. But in the second question, I quote what she said to me. So I have to pause at the quotation marks, and I have to change a little bit the tone of my voice on the quote. That's the thing she said. What I added to the sentence, she said, it goes with a little bit lower tone of voice.
Jet англи хэлний сургууль дөрмөн суурилсан 100% англи хэлээр ярих, унших, бичих, сонсох чадваруудыг хөгжүүлэх шинжлэгдсэн хөтөлбөрөөр ерөнхий болон академик англи хэлний сургалтуудаа эсэл тавьж эхэллээ. Jet School of English.
Таны амжилтын жигүүр болсон 20 жил.
Jet School of English.
Alright, I hope today you learned a lot of more new things about English pronunciation so that you can improve your speaking and reading in English to make it more natural, more beautiful, that you can express your own feelings, emotions, and thoughts in English language. This was our third lesson on pronunciation in our intermediate English course. See you next week at the same time. Bye!